got my shipment in, so the first thing we're going to do is check for damage.
Hey, Bear! Hey, Bear! Let's get to work. Oh, man.
Yeah, this has been crushed in a little bit, but I think trying to fix this fin, it will be more damage afterwards, so I'm just going to leave it as is. Overall, this is good condition to install. I mean, this is getting shipped across the country. You're going to have to expect small things like this. It's not going to affect the overall performance. So I give RockAuto an 8 for shipping. And in this box we got the compressor, accumulator, an orifice, oil, and gasket set. It says it meets OEM performance specifications. I mean, it is super cool, so that's kind of trusting. And it is 8 ounces, so I'll be emptying the whole container of oil into the system once I make sure that the compressor oil is drained out. Compressor can come oiled. The compressor will contain shipping oil or actually contain PAG oil. But in either case, if you drain it out and use the specified oil capacity for your vehicle, then you're good to go. Opening the compressor. And the one variation between this well, two variations actually. One difference is this is a Sandin style compressor. Unlike the H6 series, the HU6 and the HT6 compressor, those are designs that have the housing sealed with an O-ring right here and right here, so they're prone to leak. And this one you can see is a completely new design, so it's not prone to have the belly leaks. The leaks occurs when the mounting bolts in the back and the front can allow a little bit of wiggle, and over 10-20 years that wiggle just wears down the O-rings and they leak. They'll be leaking out of here. Also different is the clutch connector. On mine the clutch connector is kind of like situated right here, but the connector is the same and we should have no problem just connecting it like that. Another thing is that this compressor diameter can be different based on what type of air conditioning you have. I think the rear AC is what differentiates between the diameter compressor. This is 4.3 inches in diameter, and the larger style compressor is 4.96 inches in diameter. Back here we'll have the high pressure sensor, and this is crankcase fill port. So this is where I'll be draining out the compressor oil. When you're draining out, you need to be able to turn the compressor in order to operate the pistons and valves to get all the oil drained out. Some compressors you can't turn this because it's so tight, and you'll need a spanner to turn it. But I can turn this clockwise, and so not going to have a problem draining the oil out of this. Here's our gasket kit, and it is made by Santec. Kit number is RS2550 from UAC. I think we've got mounting washers here. And got an orifice tube, UAC part number EX5378C. I've got a genuine GM orifice that I want to use instead of this. For the orifice, I'd rather use genuine GM. and this is a black, by the way. Color will determine the type and size of orifices. So when checking your accumulator, there's a couple of items to look at. One is this peanut connector. Here we have this basically at a 10 o'clock position, and there's another accumulator that looks just like this, but the connector is in a 12 o'clock position. Now this was called a now on this accumulator it was only given one stat, which was a 9 o'clock. Some you'll see accumulator will be a 9 o'clock and a 7 o'clock. That'll be like the position of this and also the position this way. So with this pointing down, this peanut is at 9 o'clock. The other accumulator, which looks just like this, is going to have this peanut right here, and it's going to be called a 12 o'clock. That's the best information I've been able to find so far. So, not sure if I'm completely right, but it's the only thing that makes sense to me. And why this is at 6 o'clock instead of being measured from 12 o'clock and this being called a 3 o'clock, I don't know why, but it appears that this is the correct 9 o'clock. But either way, if the item you're looking at, as long as it's not a stock image, just make sure this is at the right angle and this is at the correct angle. Because if this is here, you're not going to get this to bolt up. And if you get this and you need this up here, this isn't going to be compatible. And one thing, we will make sure this thing stays capped so the desiccant inside is not absorbing water.